Many of our townspeople have been frightened by unusual sounds.
How many people here tonight are afraid of the thing?
I saw this brilliant object. It was quite low in the sky, and I was petrified. I just couldn't move. I was shaking like a leaf.
There have been abductions or kidnappings. We must get round to the way of thinking in terms of non-man-made machines, something more sophisticated than we have ever produced.
Many people believe in flying saucers. They call them unidentified flying objects, UFOs. They call themselves ufologists. In recent months, British ufologists have been interested in a little town in Wiltshire, Warminster, where strange sights and sounds at night have been reported. But most Warminster folk have seen nothing out of the ordinary and strongly resent newspaper stories about a town living in terror. The army is much in evidence in these parts, and skeptics say that if odd things are being seen, they're most likely rockets, flares, balloons or aircraft, which the army's not talking about for security reasons. Whatever the explanation, there was enough interest to pack a public meeting in the town hall last Friday night. More than 300 people turned up to hear the local council chairman, Mr. Emlyn Rees, open the meeting, flanked by visiting ufologists.
Information to clarify the aims of this meeting. The most disturbing factor is that many of our townspeople have been frightened by unusual sounds. If tonight we can contribute something constructive to the explanation of these phenomena, it might be able to assure these people who have nothing to be alarmed about.
Then the meeting was thrown open to the people of Warminster.
But the noise did occur, and I confirmed the lady who was too scared to disclose her name that she did hear it, and so did I. It woke me up.
How many people here tonight are afraid of the thing? How many of you? I think the papers have got it all wrong.
When the call went out for people who'd seen or heard the thing, the response was disappointing.
That looks like 4. Yes?
What's that question directed?
At 3:45 in the morning, I was wakened by this dreadful droning sound.
Would you like to speak up?
And I went to the bedroom window, and I saw this brilliant object. It was quite low in the sky, and I live up Beacon View that way, and it seemed to be travelling very slowly, and I was petrified. I just couldn't move. I was shaking like a leaf. I just couldn't move, and it was going on for half an hour.
One night back in the summer, it could have been the 11th of August, I heard a sound that was really horrible, but I would have said was a Commodore Garden helicopter sitting only a few feet up above the houses in the town.
The meeting left Warminster's problem unresolved, though there was talk of setting up an observation post. Flying saucers have fascinated people for nearly 20 years now, and in the past months, reports of sightings have flooded in faster than ever before. These pictures are said to have been taken by an Italian mountaineer on the Cerrejon Glacier in the summer of 1952. British ufologists are still wondering whether they're genuine or not, but they say that the visitors from space are shaped like men, mostly about a yard high. Mr. Francis Chichester, the famous yachtsman and pioneer aviator, works at his map-making office. In 1931, he made the first solo flight from New Zealand to Australia. 34 years later, he remembers something he saw during the flight.
It was a perfect shape. It was shaped sort of, well, like a pearl with a tail. You know, just a blimp, a pure blimp shape. And I watched this thing, and suddenly it disappeared. And I thought, well, am I seeing things? I'd had a very grueling flight. I'd had engine trouble, and I'd been waiting for hours, expecting to go into the sea, you know. However, suddenly this thing reappeared, coming towards me, and I thought, well, I'm not going to let it go this time, and I kept my look fixed on it, and it was approaching fairly fast, and then suddenly, gradually rather, it began to thin out, and it vanished in front of me, and before my eyes. It became a sort of ghost. I could see the water, the waves of the sea through it for one instant, and then it vanished.
Since 1947 and the first big flying saucer flap, thousands of sightings have been reported. Last year, an American investigation group presented a breakdown of the evidence to members of Congress. It's packed with reports from all over the world, the stories of what an American Air Force general described as credible observers of relatively incredible things. In London, Mr. Charles Bowen, editor of the Flying Saucer Review, a bi-monthly magazine, receives reports from many countries. He believes he's seen a flying saucer himself. He believes that they're landing here on Earth, and we asked him where they came from.
I am inclined to believe possibly from beyond our own solar system, from other solar systems, other sun systems in the galaxy.
You don't think it's possible that they could come from another planet within our solar system?
It is possible, but things seem to point otherwise.
This means they come a very long way.
Indeed.
You think this is still quite possible? This is several light years, isn't it, from the nearest?
Well, we must get round to the way of thinking in terms of non-man-made machines, something more sophisticated than we have ever produced.
These are very advanced people.
They could be.
Why do you think they come here?
Well, I wish we knew the answer to that one. That's the $64,000 question.
Do you think they're friendly?
So far, all the evidence points to the fact that they are not unfriendly, but then there are some small things that they do which would seem to point to the fact that possibly their intentions are not, how shall we say, on our side.
What are these things?
Well, there have been abductions or kidnappings that have been reported.
Mr. Gordon Crichton, once a Foreign Office official, has been interested since 1941 when he saw an unidentified flying object in China.
I think that there is more than one type visiting us. I think there are at least 5. I'm talking of types of beings, not types of craft. There are about 30 types of craft. I think a minimum of 5 types of beings are coming, and possibly 8. And I think that some of them may be friendly and some may not be.
South America seems to be the most active area for flying saucers. Ufologists believe the spacemen may even have bases there in the Mato Grosso and the Andes, and even underwater along the Atlantic coast of Patagonia. In France, an investigator discovered that reported sightings for one September night in 1963 fell in an absolutely straight line from Bayonne to Vichy. Ufologists have since used that method to work out 2 lines of orbit which, they reckon, link the areas of maximum flying saucer activity. If flying saucers come from outside our solar system, they come a very long way. If man could get to the moon in 2.5 hours, the journey to the sun at the same speed would take him more than 5 weeks. The journey to the next nearest star, Proxima Centauri, would take 30,000 years. Even at the speed of light, the trip to our solar system's nearest neighbor would take 4 years, 4 months. The enormous distances make most astronomers skeptical about flying saucers. At the Royal Observatory at Herstmonceux in Sussex, work's going on what will be Britain's biggest optical telescope under the eye of Sir Richard Woolley, the Astronomer Royal.
Sir Richard, what do you think of this flying saucer business?
Well, it's impossible to say what people actually see unless you're there at the time, and you do get all sorts of reports. If one didn't see it oneself, one can't say what it is they actually saw.
You've never seen anything yourself?
No, never.
There are an awful lot of astronomers here at the moment from many parts of the world. Do you know any who claim that they've seen unidentifiable things in the sky?
No, I don't think so at all.
It is part of modern astronomy, isn't it? It's accepted by modern astronomers that it's possible that there are many planets in our galaxy that could sustain our kind of life, or life similar to ours.
Oh yes, in our galaxy, but not in the solar system. This makes an enormous difference about the travel time. If the thing is many thousand light years away from here, or many million light years away from here, even if you move with the speed of light, you've got to be many million years old to get here. So it's practically impossible.
Unless some men or some creatures are so technically in advance of us somewhere that they can travel even faster than this.
No, you can't travel faster than the speed of light. Mr. Einstein says you can't. Now, they must be so clever that they can live 1 million years.
If the distances are unconquerable, if there are no such things as flying saucers, then either a lot of people have been suffering from hallucinations, or the air forces of the world have craft which are much more advanced in speed and maneuverability than they're prepared to say. If there are flying saucers, where do they come from and what are they up to? The most disturbing theory of all is that the men in the flying saucers are our own descendants, perhaps centuries in the future, who've found a way of breaking through the time barrier to visit their own past, which is our present.